Hello everyone, I invite you to every Monday's cryptocurrency review. Let's start by checking the current situation on the BTC pair to USDT, taking into account the 4-hour interval. First, we will use the blue lines to mark the local uptrend channel where the BTC price is approaching the upper limit. Now we can move on to marking the places of support in the event of a correction. And here in the first place it is worth marking support at $28,840, then second support at $28,555, third support at $28,324, and then we have a strong support zone from $28,092 to $27,760. Looking the other way, in a similar way, using the trend-based fib extension tool, we can determine the places of resistance. And here in the first place we have a very strong resistance at $29,325 equal to 0.786 fib from which the price has currently rebounded, but when it manages to break it, the next strong resistance will appear at the price of $29,910. Please note the CHOP index, which indicates that the energy has been used. The MACD indicator indicates the entry into an uptrend. While the RSI has crossed the upper limit of the range, which may lead to a price correction or a temporary sideways trend. As the second chart in today's review, we'll be looking at ETH versus USDT on a one-day timeframe. First of all, using the blue lines, we can mark the uptrend channel in which the price is currently moving. Now let's move on to marking the places of support. We will use the trend-based fib extension tool to mark the supports, and as you can see, we first have a support zone from $1,801 to $1,759. If the price falls below this zone, then the second support at $1,715, the third at $1,650, then the fourth support at a price of $1,569. Looking the other way, we can also mark the places where the price should encounter resistance on the way to increases. And here we have the first very strong resistance at $1,978, the next resistance at $2,060, then the third resistance at $2,126, and the fourth resistance at $2,195. The CHOP index indicates that there is still some energy left for the next move. The MACD indicator remains in an uptrend. On the other hand, the RSI, despite the rebound, is in the upper part of the range, which may indicate a deeper correction. As the third in today's statement, we will check the situation on the DOT chart, taking into account the one-day interval. First, we will use the yellow line to mark the downtrend line from which the price went up. Moving on, we can move on to marking support areas when we start a larger correction. And here we see that the price is just below the first support. Then we have a support zone from $6.11 to $5.93 in front of the price. Third support at $5.74, and then fourth support at $5.49. Looking the other way, we see first resistance at $6.53, then second resistance at $6.86, then third resistance at $7.32. It is worth paying attention to the EMA cross 10 and 30. We can see that the red line of the EMA cross 10 is moving just below the EMA cross 30. The crossing of the green line by the red line can confirm the change of the trend to an uptrend. Please look at the CHOP index, which indicates that we have a lot of energy for the upcoming move. The MACD indicates that we have entered an uptrend, while the RSI has left the downtrend. Last in today's chart is the MKR chart against USDT on a 4-hour interval. First, we will use the blue lines to mark the uptrend channel in which we are currently moving. Going further, we can move on to marking the places of support when we start the correction. And here, the first support is at $706, the second support is at $698, the third support is at $692, and then the fourth support is at $686. Looking the other way, we see that the price has approached a strong resistance at $721. When it manages to break it, the second resistance is at $731. Then the third resistance is at $744. It is worth paying attention to the EMA cross 10 and 30, which indicate the place of return to the uptrend. Please take a look at the CHOP index, which indicates that there is still plenty of energy for the next move. The MACD confirms the current uptrend, while the RSI is moving in the upper part of the range and approaching its upper limit, which may affect price stagnation or an upcoming rebound. Technical analysis is provided by a third party and for informational purposes only. It does not reflect the views of CryptoDaily, nor is it intended to be used as legal, tax, investment, or financial advice.